When you think Star Wars, you immediately think Stormtroopers. They are iconic with their all-white armor and their famous inability to shoot accurately. But when you stop it to take a closer look at all 8 movies, all the TV shows, all of the video games, and all of the books, both canon and not, you'll notice they've evolved quite a bit throughout the series. From the Galactic Republic's clone troopers, to the Emperor's Stormtroopers, to the First Order Stormtroopers, and everything in between. I'm your host, as always, K-Mac Time, and today we're taking a look at every Stormtrooper version ever, including the now non-canon troopers. Now, there are a ton to get through, and it's easiest to go in alphabetical order, and I can't go into detail about every single one, or this video would end up being a week long, but I will pick out the ones that I think are interesting here and there and give a little bit of detail about the lore and what they are about. But anyway, let's get going. Let's start out with the clone troopers, of which there are 85 separate variations for, all of which appeared in the Clone Wars series or the prequel trilogy. Starting alphabetically with Advanced Recon Commandos, or ARC troops, which were an elite variant of Republic clone troopers. Chosen from the ranks of the Grand Army of Republic, the status of ARC Trooper was bestowed on clones who served with distinction on the battlefield. They received special training and often served as leaders or received challenging assignments not suitable for less specialized clones. They were also given their own unique armor set, which differed greatly from the standard issue kit. Next up are the Advanced Recon Commando Heavy Gunner, the Advanced Recon Force Trooper, the Clone Advisor, the Aerial Recon Trooper, the Alpha Class Advanced Recon Commando, the Anti-Air Clone Trooper, the Anti-Trooper, the Clone Assassin, which are a specialized class of clone troopers created on the planet Commando. These troopers were commissioned by Supreme Chancellor Palpatine through a special order during the Clone Wars. The assassins were trained specifically to eliminate Jedi utilizing Taris Kasai, a form of unarmed combat. Through training duels with Padawans of the Jedi Order, the clones developed greatly enhanced speed as well as aptitude for anticipating strikes and the ability to resist Jedi mind tricks. Continuing on the list, we have the Atr T Driver, the ATTE Commander, Biker Advanced Recon Commando, the Clone Blaze Trooper, the Blurg Trooper, which were Blurg-mounted clone troopers. Blurgs are a 2-legged reptilian species that lived on the plains and forest moon of Endor. Used by the Galactic Republic during the Clone Wars, they served as cavalry units on various worlds in areas where ATRTs or personal walkers were deemed impractical. Next up, we have the Clone Captain Troopers. We also have the Clone Battalion Commander, the Clone Cadets, the Clone Flight Crew, the Clone Gunner Crew, the Clone Ordnance Specialist, Clone Paratroopers, which were specialized clone troopers trained for airborne operations in the Grand Army of the Republic. In the waning days of the Clone Wars, the paratroopers of the 212th Attack Battalion served as the frontline units in the Battle of Utapu. There are also the Clone Scuba Troopers, the Clone Tank Gunners, the Clone Trooper Pilots, the Cold Assassin Trooper, the Clone Trooper Commander, the Clone Commando, the Covert Ops Clone Trooper, and the Cupid Clone Trooper. This Clone Trooper Cupid was only purchasable outfit for the online game Star Wars Clone Wars Adventures. There were also the Clone Engineer class, the Felucian Commando class, the Clone Flame Trooper, the Galactic Marines. There's also what's called a G-Node, which were unique from other clones in one way. They were unaware that they were clones, even when looking at or communicating with other clones of the same template. They were either programmed with or developed on their own individual names and detailed memories of fictional lives and histories. Other psychological programming included the inability to betray the Empire and an inability to discuss cloning with other clones. There was also the Clone Trooper Grenadier class, the Heavy Assault Clone Trooper, the Clone Heavy Gunner, the Clone Heavy Trooper, the Heavy Weapons Clone Trooper, the High Orbit Precision Entry Trooper, or the Hope Troopers, which were specialized clone commandos used in the Clone Wars. Wearing Katarn Commando armor, they would be launched from orbit in one-man escape pods, the outer shells of which would split open and an appropriate altitude was reached, allowing the troopers inside to make a controlled descent to their target. The Hope unit was only used once, and it was sent to rescue Jedi Tree Tower on Yorn Scott. There's also the Clone Jet Trooper, the Clone Lance Trooper, the Clone Trooper Lieutenant, the Clone Trooper Major, the Clone Marine, the Clone Marshal Commander, the MEC Trooper, which have appeared in the Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron and Star Wars Battlefront Elite Squadron games. When customization features allow the players to create a clone trooper with exaggeratedly large body, this is named an MEC Trooper. Not much else is known about this class of trooper. There's also the Clone Trooper Medic and the Clone Trooper Medical Officer. There's the Clone Naval Officer, the Clone Navigational Officer, the Null Class Advanced Recon Commando, and the Nutcracker Clone Trooper, which is just another skin. The Rail Class Advanced Recon Commando, the Clone Regimental Commander, the Riot Clone Trooper class, the Clone Scout Trooper, the Clone Scuba Trooper, which are also known as Clone Sub-Troopers, which are elite aquatic assault clone troopers grown on the planet Commando for the Grand Army of the Republic. Trained in underwater tactics and outfitted with specialized clone trooper armor and blasters, clone scuba troopers were deployed on numerous occasions in aquatic battlefields throughout the Clone Wars. There is also the Senior Clone Commander class, the Clone Sergeant class, the Clone Shadow Trooper, the Clone Shock Trooper, the Skeletal Clone Trooper, another skin from that game, and the Clone Sniper. And all clone troopers of the Grand Army Republic possessed even the same eyesight, accuracy, and steadiness and patience. However, sharpshooters were revealed to have special flash training, teaching them the intricacies of being a good sniper. We also have the Special Ops Clone Trooper, the Stealth Operations Clone Trooper, the Stealth Pilot Trooper. We also have the what is known as the regular, just plain old Clone Troopers. And that is all for the Clone Troopers. Again, a lot of them to go through. I know there's a lot of to take in. But let's go ahead and jump now into the Galactic Empire Stormtrooper variant. Starting out with the Space Trooper, aka the Zero-G Assault Stormtrooper. These guys were equipped to operate in zero-gravity environments. They wore a variant of the Stormtrooper armor fitted with a rebreather pack and jetpack. Space Troopers were notably used to patrol the outside of the Death Star. Next up is the Aquatic Assault Stormtrooper, the Armored Stormtrooper, the Assault Trooper, the Beach Trooper, which is just a funny little thing in the Lego Star Wars universe where these Stormtroopers have Speedos on and they're usually inside of a hot tub or something like that. It's kind of a funny one. There's also the Bomb Squad Stormtrooper, the Cave Trooper, the Coastal Defender Stormtrooper, the Cold Weather Assault Stormtrooper, the Coruscant Guard, the Crowd Control Stormtrooper. Darth Vader's security force, also known as Vader's Special Force Trooper. These troopers are of the Galactic Empire that are visually identical to snow troopers, only having red colored armor instead of the usual white. They can only be seen in the Super Nintendo game Super Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. Continuing on, we have the Death Trooper, the Demolition Trooper, the Desert Stormtrooper, the Dewback Trooper, the EVO Trooper, which is short for Environmental Trooper, which were among the Empire's most specialized stormtroopers, equipped with heavily enhanced armor and breathing tubes and undergoing special training. EVO troopers were able to survive and operate in the most hazardous of conditions, such as extreme heat, acid rivers, and in lightning fields. They can be found in the Force Unleashed video games. There's also the Field Stormtrooper, the Flame Trooper, the Forest Trooper, the Grenadier Trooper, the Hazard Stormtrooper, the Heavy Shore Trooper, the Imperial Cadet, the Imperial Commando Special Unit, the Imperial Jump Trooper, also known as Sky Troopers or Assault Troopers, which were a variant of the Galactic Empire's Stormtrooper, the direct descendant of the Republic clone Jet Troopers. They were assigned to battlefields with the most treacherous terrain. Next, we have the Imperial Marine, the Imperial Navy Commando, the Imperial Shock Trooper, the Magma Trooper, the Mine Stormtrooper, the Nova Trooper, which were Stormtrooper honor guards who wore distinct black and gold reinforced Stormtrooper armor. Nova Troopers were assigned to either historically significant locations such as a Sith burial ground or to guard captured enemy starships. We then have what's called the Purge Stormtrooper, the Radiation Zone Assault Trooper, the Riot Stormtrooper, the Rocket Stormtrooper, the Sand Trooper, the Scout Trooper, the Sea Trooper, the Shadow Trooper, which were Stormtrooper Dark Jedi hybrid soldiers and were armed with lightsabers powered by synthetic Sith crystals. The first appearance of them was in the game Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. We then have the Sniper Trooper, the Special Commando Advanced Recon Trooper, the Speeder Bike Assault Force Trooper, the Storm Commando Trooper, the Storm Medic, the Storm Rifleman, the Storm Surgeon, and the Stormtrooper Commander variants. Of course, then there's the Terror Trooper, which was an experimental class of elite stormtroopers that formed the infantry of the Galactic Empire's terror units. The Terror Troopers were created as cyborg experiments conducted by the Imperial Department of Military Research. Their masks were deliberately intended to invoke the appearance of the infamous Separatist General Grievous from the Clone Wars. And last but not least, we have the Wetland Assault Stormtroopers. But we are not done there. Of course, there are the First Order variants on the Stormtrooper. Obviously, starting with just the run-of-the-mill Stormtrooper, normal one, but it just happens to be a First Order Stormtrooper. There's also a First Order Flame Trooper, what's called a First Order Mega Blaster Heavy Assault Trooper, a First Order Snow Trooper, and of course the infamous First Order Riot Trooper, which is the exact same thing as TR-8R, which is also known as FN-299, or his nickname Nines. He's the one in the movie that challenges Finn with his badass baton thing. That was a really cool scene. But anyway, guys, that is all the variants that I could find. I'm hoping that's all of them, but I just know out there that some of you will be like, well, technically there's this and that, and you forgot this. I'm sure there are, and I know people that will be like, the title said them all. But I did my best to put together a comprehensive list, and I did a lot of research on this. Hopefully you guys can see that. And if I did miss them, I would love to hear about it in the comment section. Just be respectful. Don't start a fight and bicker about it if there's something out there. Just let me know if I missed one. Not a big deal. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button and subscribing for more Star Wars content coming to your sub boxes. Also, make sure you guys check out some of my previous Star Wars content. Done loads of Star Wars theories and Star Wars videos just like this. If you guys are interested in that, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more. But until next time, guys, remember that's always K-Mac time somewhere. Until then, take it easy and peace out.
Ready to jump.